'Twas the night before Christmas when Southsiders gathered to celebrate Jesus, the baby who mattered. Excitement is building. Oh, how could they know? A little creature was stirring inside a snow globe.
Oh, hi! I didn't see you there. Well, this must mean that it's time for Southside Christmas. Gosh, I can hardly wait. You know what I heard? Rumor on the street is that there's going to be snow. Can you believe it? And oh, I heard there was going to be presents too. Gosh, I love presents. Also, I love nuts. All kinds of nuts. Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, peanuts, walnuts. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, how could I ever forget? We're of course going to celebrate the reason for the season. A little baby who brought hope into the whole world. Oh goodness, all this chatting. I don't want to be late. Nice to meet you all. See you there.
Well, Merry Christmas! 6 o'clock Christmas Eve service, the last service, which means you're the best service, you're our favorite. Well, my name's Dave, I'm one of the pastors here on staff, and when our service experience pastor asked me to be a part of the service, I asked her, well, what am I following? What am I gonna go up after? And she's like, oh, you're gonna go up after the chipmunk. And I was like, deal. So I can fill those little shoes. Although, truthfully, I think cashews are the Cadillac of nuts. But my goal of being up here is just to get us loosened up a little bit. It's Christmas Eve, a time to celebrate, a time to have fun. Maybe we could even laugh a little before we jump into this service. So go ahead, limber up, stretch it out, right? Get ready. There's no crowd participation, don't worry, but stretch it out. I grew up playing sports, so stretching was really important. It used to be something we do for like prevention, injury prevention. But through this pandemic, I'm so out of shape, I avoid stretching. I'm pretty sure it would cause an injury in my life right now. And I actually have a true story to prove that. I didn't make this up, I didn't write this. This actually happened to me a couple weeks ago. I woke up from a long night's sleep, rejuvenated, rested, went to move my arm, couldn't move my arm. Couldn't move it higher than this. I had a sleeping injury. I was literally hurt from sleeping. Like, think about that for a second. The thing that's supposed to rejuvenate you, heal your body, broke me. That's how out of shape I am through this pandemic. And I blame the COVID, it's the COVID. And I know some of you, Gabe, you for sure, Josh, you too. I mean, you've done well through COVID. You're still rocking the beach bod. Ed, I know you got one. I'm rocking more of what they call like a COVID body. And you know you got a COVID body when the only place you truly feel comfortable in it is when you're quarantining in your own home. That's how you know you have a COVID body. Flatten the curve, do you guys remember that? That's just evolved for me personally. It's my New Year's resolution into 2022. It's gonna be the name of my workout program now. Flattening the curve, or in my case, curves. That's the only reason I'm wearing this jacket. I mean, let's be honest, it's 22 degrees in here. I don't need it. It looks okay, but it's truly just covering up the insecurities in my life. January 18th, man, I'm gonna be first person into Murph's gym. Flattening the curve, 2022. It's funny how It's funny how we name that kind of stuff, those seasons of our lives. Remember your first year, freshman year, university, what do they call it? You were gonna gain the freshman 15, I heard it over here. Right through the early stages of the pandemic, it was the quarantine 14. And let's face it, now that we're 2 years into this thing, let's call it truly what it really is. Now it's just the COVID-19. That's what it is, a solid COVID-19. So some restrictions just came out. I know as a staff, we were eagerly kind of paying attention to see what was gonna happen. But you know who I think was the most afraid? Santa Claus. And rightfully so. Think about this for a second. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't crazy. Think about it. The person that flies around the world in a single night, he's gonna go into all of our homes. As a matter of fact, he's gonna go into every home on the entire planet. He's gonna walk in your living room. He's gonna eat your cookies, drink your milk. If there's anybody we should be shutting down, it's Santa Claus. Right? If there's anyone responsible for a variant going around the world, it's the guy literally going into everyone's house on the same night. Think about it. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Sounds a little congested to me. That sounds like a cough, a cold. He's not just jolly, and you know, I think the only reason that they really haven't looked into him, is the contact tracing would be a nightmare. But if you're worried about Santa Claus, don't worry, Southside Church has you covered. We want to bless you guys with some awesome gifts. In the seat back in front of you, you're gonna find this information card. If you're in the front row, congratulations, you won front row seats. No seat back for you, unfortunately. So in the information card, there's ways you can get informed about Southside, get connected to Southside, but if you check and you pull that out, some lucky ones of you, some lucky Southsiders, you're gonna be covered in gold foil. It's the golden ticket. If you're in the risers, it's this information slots down beside you on the side of your seat. So make sure you look. If you got a golden ticket, hold it up proud in the air, because one of our Christmas stuff, congratulations. Oh, one in the back, anyone in the risers, hold it up nice and proud, because you're gonna win an awesome Southside Christmas gift pack. Congratulations. And Southside Online, hey, we haven't forgot about you. Take out your phone right now, and we wanna give you a gift. Simply text the word gift to 604-670-3040, and the first one to do that, we're gonna mail you a Christmas gift pack straight to you. And if this is your first time at Southside Church, or you're new here at Southside Church, we got a gift for you too. We want you to text the keyword hello, just that word, to 604-670-3040, and when you do, you'll get a link to our digital connections card. We ask you to fill out your email so that we can email you a $5 Starbucks e-card. Simply say, hey, Merry Christmas, and thanks to coming to Southside Church. So that's enough for me. Why don't you stand and join the band as we celebrate Christmas.
What's up, Southside Church? Welcome to Christmas. Man, we're so excited that you're here. Hey, listen, we're gonna sing a couple songs tonight, and we'd absolutely love if you sang along with us.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature. Let's go then. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world. Sing it out. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world. We will sing, sing, sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world. We will sing, sing, sing. Oh, we're gonna sing. Joyful, joyful, we adore. Sing it out, church.
God of glory, Lord of love,
Hearts unfold like flowers
before thee,
opening to the sun. Let's go.
above. Joyful, joyful, we
Adore you, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. Yeah.
You guys can take a seat.
We ushered in 2021 with a tide of hopeful expectation as we happily said goodbye to 2020. Now, as 2021 comes to a close, we can all agree that this year gave last year a run for its money in terms of adversity and challenge. But through it all, once again, despite everything, God has been at work. At Southside in 2021, we saw lives changed, people helped, and hope go out to our city like never before. So how did God use us this year? Because of the continued impact of COVID-19 on our world, from January to June, we pivoted to church online. We had the privilege of bringing help and hope as new Southsiders tuned in from all over the world, including countries as far away as Turkey, India, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Jamaica, and Brazil. In June, as restrictions eased, we were able to open the doors and walk together into our first, very own permanent home, a home years in the making that was a result of many faithful prayers, dreams, sacrifices, and plans. Now each week, an average of 900 Southsiders meet in person, with around 1,400 people joining us online for church. We are a church that believes in building up the next generation and making sure that they know they belong. This year, we saw 150 young adults, 350 youth, and 670 kids walk through our doors into meaningful community with their peers and leaders. We're cheering them on with a profound belief that they will change the world. At Southside, we've always known that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Through our help ministries and outreach days, we were able to show our city practical help and care to people beyond our four walls in more generous and effective ways than ever. Through our For This City and All Is Bright citywide serving days, we saw a record of 956 people join an outreach team. Practically, that meant isolated and vulnerable moms with new babies receiving diaper bags with all the essentials to let them know they are not alone. That meant families walking through critical illness receiving sunshine boxes filled with hundreds and hundreds of dollars in gift cards. That meant an entire school full of students who didn't have to worry about school supplies or where their next meal was coming from because Southside was there. That meant entire senior residences receiving gifts and Christmas decorations to make a potentially lonely season a little bit brighter, and countless other stories from our 13 outreach teams this year. We were also excited to host our second annual Wonder Drive-Thru light display. Hundreds of hours and countless people volunteered their time to transform our parking lot into an unforgettable light display. This year again, we saw thousands upon thousands of smiling families experience the simple joy of Christmas. Thanks to you, Southside, we were able to make Chilliwack a little bit brighter this December. Just weeks ago, torrential rains flooded homes and farmland and triggered mudslides that blocked every major highway connecting the Lower Mainland to the rest of the country. Nearly 20,000 people were forced to evacuate their homes. Thanks to the incredible generosity of our church and community, donations poured in. Our lobby became a critical pickup and drop-off zone for hundreds of individual families, and we were able to continually support 4 evacuee camps and several relief organizations. We will continue to be there to do all we can, as the real cost of this catastrophe has yet to be measured. Across the world, we continue to fully fund our school in Mirabelais, Haiti. The Haiti Free School provides a free, Christ-centered education and a hot daily meal to the city's poorest children from kindergarten to grade 12. We are happy to say that our school has been at capacity all year with 535 students. We also have a faculty of 50 paid staff. That means that we also are able to support 50 families through a steady income. Last year, we were able to send 2 students to medical school through our post-secondary scholarship program. This year, we were able to add a 3rd student to that list, a familiar face that some of you may recognize. Johnny fought hard for his education. He attended our free school from the 7th to 12th grade, walking 3 hours to and from school every day. Through all the obstacles, Johnny was consistently the top student in his class. We were delighted to send Johnny to university, and he is currently completing his first year in the Agricultural Sciences program at UCI University. In total, Southside Church gave close to $400,000 to local and international missions. In the midst of all the uncertainty of this year, Southside, you continue to trust that God had a plan. You sacrificed, you stepped up, and you gave generously. With all the twists and turns, we know this year of unprecedented loss and difficulty had the potential to change our church's financial landscape. Miraculously, 2021 has been by far our most generous year yet. And all of it, all of your generosity, sacrifice, and faith led to the most important numbers of all, as 450 people chose to ask Jesus into their lives for the first time, and 97 people took their next step of baptism. Southside Church is simply a group of ordinary world changers who are committed to being part of something bigger than ourselves. God is with us. He's never failed, and he won't start now. We may not be able to fix everything, but we know that we can always do something. Looking back this Christmas, we can see so clearly that no matter what the future may bring, we are committed to facing it together, making a continued impact in our city and the world. Church isn't a Sunday, it's a movement, and God's vision for his church is that this movement continues to expand, bringing more of his hope, help, and home to people, one life, one story at a time. Merry Christmas, Southside.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. My name is Leah. I'm on staff here at Southside, and I just want to take a second to welcome you here. Whether you're watching online, whether you're watching in person, whether this is your first ever Southside experience or your 15th year here with us, we're so glad you're here. We're so excited, we're so honored, and we're so grateful that we get to celebrate Christmas together today. So we just watched a video together, and we call that video our year in review video. And basically what it is it's just a summary of some of the things that God was able to do in and through our church this year. And if you've been coming to Southside for any length of time, you've probably heard us say this, that we exist to bring more help, more hope, and more home to our city and the world. And we take that really, really seriously. You know, when we say that we exist to bring more help, we're talking about the close to $400,000 that we were able to give to local and international help initiatives. From things like Christmas hampers to flood relief to our school in Mirabelais, Haiti. We don't want to be the church that just sends up thoughts and prayers. We want to provide boots on the ground, tangible help to people who really, really need it. And when we talk about bringing home, what we mean is just a sense of community. You know, we live in a world right now where there's so much division, and we want to be a people that promotes togetherness and unity. So through our serving teams, through our groups, through our special events, we want this church to be a home. And when we talk about hope, we're talking about bringing the hope of Jesus. You know, we really truly believe that Jesus actually changes everything. So from our kids programs to our youth programs to our midweek programs to our Sunday services, that's the foundation of every single thing that we do, because we want to spread the good news of Jesus to as many people as we can in as many ways as we possibly can. You know, it's so cool to celebrate these big numbers and videos like that, but we also know that sometimes the numbers just kind of go over your head. And so we remind ourselves at Southside all the time that every single number has a name, every name has a story, and every single story matters to God. So I wanted to read you guys one of those stories, just one life that was changed this year through what God did through Southside Church. So this is a letter from our friend Carrie. Hi Southside, my name is Carrie, and I want to thank you for being the welcoming place you've been to me and my family. I had a difficult childhood, being raised by a single mom who worked shifts as a nurse and a dad who struggled with addictions and spent time in jail. At 17, I met the man who would later become my husband, and I moved out with him, hoping to start a new life. We spent years together, buying a house together in Langley and raising our beautiful kids. However, things were far from perfect with him, and more, he abused me mentally and financially, then eventually physically. I was scared to stay, but terrified to leave, so we finally decided in 2016 to move to Chilliwack for a fresh start, and I really hoped that it would fix things. Unfortunately, after the move, things got worse. He cheated on me, and the abuse intensified. One day in 2020, for myself and my children, I made the daunting decision to leave, and we were placed in safe housing. I was also accepted into one of Southside's community partners, Sardis Doorway, which is a society created for mothers and children leaving situations just like mine. It wasn't long before I received my first invite from Southside through Doorway, an email asking if I'd like my car detailed and gassed up. I thought that was so generous, but my experiences with church when I was little told me that my life was too messy to be associated with the church. I was apprehensive because I didn't know how anyone would treat me and my kids. In September of this year, Southside sent us hampers and gift boxes. The gifts were so thoughtful, but it was a handwritten card telling me that I'm seen and loved that really got me. It made me think, maybe these people don't just say they care, maybe they actually care. The kids and I finally walked through the doors of Southside on October 10th of this year. I remember my oldest child, Emmett, saying, "Mom, it's like a concert here, and they don't care what I'm wearing." I remember feeling so welcome, and that everyone was glad we were there. And I remember Pastor Mike sharing about how if I was the only person in the world who needed saving, Jesus would still have died just for me, because he's the good shepherd who leaves the 99 to go after the one. From that point on, we were all in. I accepted Jesus into my heart, attended all the 101 classes offered on Sundays. Emmett started attending and loving Southside Youth, and this church became our family, our home. Now I'm in a small group of amazing women who provide me with prayer and support I couldn't have imagined. Now all my daughter Pippa wants to do is go to her Southside Kids class. Now I know that I have a relationship with God who says, "I found you, you're home, you're safe, and I love you." I can't say enough good things about our church and all the amazing people here who have been a part of our story so far. I'm looking forward to all that's in store for us in 2022. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas. Love, Carrie, Emmett, Pippa, and Chloe. You know, it's stories like that that are so, amazing. It's just so helpful to have stories like that to remind us that actually every single number has a name, every name has a story, and every story matters to God. And I just want to take a second for every single person that gives, that serves, that calls Southside Church their home. Thank you so much. And I hope that hearing stories like that, I hope it helps you take the stories and move them from your head to your heart. That didn't really make any sense. I just hope it becomes real to you that what you're doing is so significant, and you're playing a really crucial role in changing lives like Carrie's. So thank you so much. And every single year at Christmas time, we like to take some time to do a year-end offering. You know, Pastor Mike describes it as a way that we can end the year with a flourish of generosity, or as a way that we can look back at 2021 and honestly just stand amazed and astonished at all that God was able to do through us. And it's also a way that we can just look forward to 2022 with honestly just so much faith and expectancy, knowing that God wants to do so much more. He wants to bring more help, he wants to bring more hope, and he wants to bring more home to our community and the world. So if you'd like to join us as we give, you can. All you have to do is just text the keyword give to our phone number up on the screens there, 604-670-3040, or you can give at the giving station in the lobby out of church. It's by the cookies. The cookies are also amazing. Try the cookies, they're great. And we have more of the service today. We're going to sing another song together. We have an inspiring message from Pastor Mike. I would encourage you to silence your phones. I keep telling everybody that in the first service, I told everyone to silence their phones, and then they didn't, and then like 3 phones went off. So take me seriously. You're going to want to silence your devices. And why don't you stand and join me in the band as we sing, "Oh Come, Let Us Adore Him."
The people who have walked in darkness have seen a great light. For those who lived in a land of deep shadows, light. The joy of a great celebration, sharing rich gifts and warm greetings. For a child has been born for us, the gift of a son, for you and for me. His names will be Amazing Counselor, Strong God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace, and there will be no limits to the wholeness that he brings.
Won't you come? Won't you
Well, Christmas is a time of faith, right? I'll give you an example. What are we, 7 services in now? 7 services, okay. So all 7 services, I've heard Leah Weens up on the stage here say the following. The cookies are incredible. You want to know how many cookies Leah Weens has eaten throughout the course of these 7 services? 0, okay? So that's faith. In faith, she's believing that the cookies are incredible. They may or may not be. She really has no idea. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Okay, so let's get this over with. Big debate going on. Is it a chipmunk? Is it a squirrel? Chipmunk. So we'll just take a vote. We'll take a vote. Okay, if you're a well-thought studier of nature and you think it's a squirrel, just put your hands up right now. 350. Okay. Chipmunk. Hand up for chipmunk. Man, I admire the courage of both of you. That's well done. Okay, so squirrel has won by a landslide. Again. Hey, so whether you're watching online or in person right now, whether you're here for the first time or the 400th, from me to you, from the Manis family to you, from the Southside family to you, I was going to say, I wish you a Merry Christmas, but I'm going to do you one better. I've been praying for you. And I believe that you are going to have a Merry Christmas in the truest sense of the word. And I think tonight is going to help. Christmas is different, though. It's just different. There's something about Christmas, like you hang out with people at Christmas that you would never spend time with at any other time of the year, right? Like tomorrow you're going to have dinner, and at that dinner, crazy cousin Eddie is going to show up. Uncle Fred and Aunt Roberta. And you know that it's not going to end well. You know that. Like the only question is, what time will the police show up this year? And yet you are going to go. Even though if it was any other time of the year, you would not be caught within a 1 kilometer radius of Cousin Eddie. Now, some of you are looking at me right now going, I don't know what you mean, Mike. Like there's no one like that at my gatherings. It's you, man. Welcome to Southside, Cousin Eddie. Welcome to Southside. Christmas is different, though. We eat food at Christmas that we don't eat at other times of the year. Like the other day, I walked out of my office, and someone left this little box right outside my office. I thought, wow, isn't that amazing? And so actually, I went right back in my office because I wanted to see what was in it. And what was in it was just a bunch of Christmas cookies. It was a variety, but the main ones were like shortbread cookie with a little red thingy on top. I think that's the technical term, okay? And I'm a pastor and a good Christian. So this is what I did. I put that box back down on my desk, and I said, I will bring that home, and I will share it with my family. Okay, so I left it on my desk for about a minute and a half, and then I thought to myself, as a pastor and as a good Christian, the least that I can do is like try one of these cookies. Okay? Not ask my family to go on faith as a certain unknown piano player has continually done. I want to try one just so that my family isn't devastated and disappointed when they actually crack open the box. So I had one of those cookies, and then I ate the whole box, okay? In about 2.5 minutes. And when I was done eating the box, I Googled, what's the little red thing on top of the shortbread cookie? Do you know what it is? Yeah, it's a maraschino cherry. I never knew that. But here's the thing. In my entire life, never once have I ever said to myself, you know what I really feel like? I just really feel like a maraschino cherry. But you put one of them on top of a shortbread cookie at Christmas, I'm all in. I'm absolutely all in. Christmas is different. We listen to music at Christmas that we don't listen to at other times of the year. And there's one song that I've been thinking about a lot over the last 2 weeks. It says this: "It's the most wonderful time of the year." What a neat song. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And every time I hear that song, every time I hear that title, there's one question that goes through my mind. And here's the question: what if it's not? Like we so glibly sing this song, it's the most wonderful time of the year. But what if it's not? Like it's December of 2021, right? So the truth is, in our world today, no, let's get more specific. Watching online right now, in this building right now, countless people are feeling lost, lonely, overwhelmed, anxious, and discouraged. What about them? Is it the most wonderful time of the year for them? And I've been thinking about that a lot. And I think I came to this realization. That's the point. That's the point. That Christmas is actually for the lost and the lonely, the anxious and the overwhelmed, and the discouraged. I would go as far as to say this: it is the most wonderful time of the year, especially when it's not. I think that's the point. And so I was thinking about that phrase, and I sat down and I wrote a story, and I feel like I was supposed to share it with you tonight. And what I hope that the story does is it illustrates that this is the most wonderful time of the year, especially if it's not, in a way that you will remember. So the Sanderson house was hectic as Ben and Lisa tried to get the family ready to go to church. Now for their youngest two, Caleb, who was 13, and Paige, who was 10, church is old hat. They go to church every single week with their parents. But today is different. First of all, because it's Christmas Eve, and second, their big brother Joel is coming to church. See, Joel's 18. He's fresh out of high school, and it has been a long, long time since Joel darkened the door of a church. His parents stopped trying to make him go years ago. It's just not worth the fight, you know? But this year, Ben and Lisa said, new rule. Everybody in the family comes to church at Christmas. No exceptions, non-negotiable. And Ben was serious. Joel figured that out last Friday night. He was on his way out the back door to go meet some buddies, and Ben stood in front of him. And I guess Ben and Joel had a father-son talk for the first time in a year. Without even looking at his son, Ben just said this: "You want to live under this roof? You come to church at Christmas." So that was that, I guess. So now it's Christmas Eve and it's time to go. So Ben bangs on Joel's door. "We're leaving in 30 seconds. Joel calls out, "I'll just take my own car." Ben hesitates. And then he walks away, and Joel can hear Paige and Caleb say, "Can we go with Joel? We want to go with Joel." Ben's like, "No, we're going to be late." They head out the door, and Joel's mom, Lisa, calls, "Hey, Joel, we'll save a seat for you." And they do. Joel jumps in his car. Is he going to church? Maybe. He starts driving, and he starts to think of all the reasons why he hates the idea of walking through the door of that church. You just feel like a complete fraud. See, the thing the family doesn't know is the family doesn't know what Joel's been up to. It started years and years ago with a desire to fit in. But after he fit in, I don't know, there was girls to be with, there was parties to go to. What do they say? Places to go and people to see. And one thing led to another, to another, to another, and another. And now for Joel, Well, let's put it this way. Church is for shiny, happy, well-behaved people. Shiny, happy, well-behaved people go to church, and that right now is not Joel. So he slows down, but instead of turning into the parking lot, he keeps driving. He's got a couple of buddies hanging out in their basement. He goes to hang out with them instead. A couple minutes later, he gets a text from his mom. It says, Joel, the service has already started, but that's okay. We saved a seat right on the edge of the row for you. You can slip right in. About an hour after that, he gets a text from his dad. Text from his dad says this, don't bother coming home. So that's it. He made his choice. He crashes in that basement that night. The next morning, all his buddies are going out to hang out with their families. Joel goes to a movie by himself, and then he goes to Denny's. He goes to Denny's and he gets turkey and cranberries, mashed potatoes, and stuffing. But just as he was about to walk out of the restaurant, he gets a text. The text is from his mom. It says, Joel, are you okay? Where are you? Joel answers, I'm fine, Mom. Merry Christmas. Joel, where are you? He puts his phone in his pocket and he walks out of the restaurant. It's amazing how time flies, isn't it? Because a day becomes a week, and Joel is moving from couch to couch, from house to house. But it's amazing how time flies, because pretty soon a week becomes a month, and now Joel is officially not going home. But it's amazing how time flies, because pretty soon a month becomes a year. And every single day of that year, Joel gets a text from his mom. And quite often he'll get one from Caleb and from Paige too. Hey Joel, can you come to my game? Can you come to the recital? Hey Joel, it's my birthday. Can you come over? And every single time Joel has a reason, Joel has an excuse. He just can't make it today. And then another text from his mom. Joel, I love you. I miss you. Where are you? Love you too, Mom. Joel, where are you? I want to come see you. He puts his phone in his pocket. Not yet. Maybe later. But it's amazing how time flies, isn't it? Because pretty soon a year becomes years. Joel moves out of the area. He gets his own place, roommates come and go, his career's going well. Like if money is the measuring stick, he's making lots. Like lots and lots, which is a good thing because he's spending lots. He's 27 years old now, so partying is serious business and it costs a lot of money. But for Joel, he gets whatever he wants. But he's been wondering lately why it is that he doesn't seem to want anything he gets. He's been wondering lately why it is that someone with such a full life can feel so empty. He's been wondering lately why somebody who is so clearly winning can feel so incredibly lost. Women come and go. Joel has never had any problem attracting girls. But keeping them or staying interested himself, well, that's another matter. And lately Joel's been wondering how it is that somebody who is surrounded by so many beautiful people can feel so profoundly lonely. Well, now it's December 23rd. Joel's walking out of the office on his way to his car, and he is stoked. 4 days off coming up. He has worked so hard all year. He's earned this. It's going to be amazing. He's walking out to his car. His phone buzzes in his pocket. He pulls it out and he looks at it. It's amazing, isn't it? Time flies sometimes, and then sometimes time stands still because Joel looks at his phone and the text is from his dad. You're kidding me, right? 9 years later? No. He puts his phone in his pocket. He walks to his car. He throws his phone on the passenger seat. He's not even going to read it. 5 minutes down the road, he picks his phone up. He reads the text. Joel, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please come home. It's a little late now, dude. 9 years later, the last text that he sent me said, don't bother coming home. What a joke. He throws his phone on the floor. He keeps driving. He gets to his house. There's a party at Joel's house. There's almost always a party at Joel's house, but he doesn't feel like it tonight. He keeps driving. He parks his car. He starts walking. He walks and he walks and he walks. And as he's walking, all of a sudden, there's this story that comes to him. It's a story that I think someone told him in Sunday school years and years and years ago. It's a real simple story. It's a story about this good shepherd. And the shepherd has 100 sheep. 100 sheep. And one of those sheep, it just goes missing. It's so weird, in the story. You wonder, why did that one sheep go missing? Is it a stupid sheep? Is it a rebellious sheep? Did the sheep get lured away? It's almost like it doesn't really matter why the sheep went missing. That's not the point. The sheep is lost. But what's crazy about this story is, you know what the shepherd does? He has 100 sheep. Well, he still has 99 sheep now. You know what he does? He takes the 99 sheep, he puts them in the pasture, and he goes looking for that one lost sheep. The shepherd, he heads out into the wilderness, and he puts himself in harm's way, and he looks, and he looks, and he looks until he finds that one lost. Why is this sheep lost? Is it the sheep's own fault? Was he a stupid sheep? It doesn't really matter. The sheep is lost. And the story says that when the shepherd finds this lost sheep, he bends down, he picks the sheep up, he puts the sheep on his shoulders, and he carries the sheep home. He carries the sheep home. So Joel keeps walking. He walks, and he looks up at the stars in the sky, and he thinks of this other story about the time that Jesus was born in Bethlehem. And the angels showed up to announce it, shining like stars. And the angel said, I'll bring you good news of great joy that'll be for all the people. Well, Joel keeps walking. He didn't sleep at all that night. The next day, it's December 24th. He goes to Denny's 9 years in a row. The tradition continues. He goes to Denny's, turkey, cranberries, mashed potato, and stuffing. And he sits there in that booth, and he can't stop thinking about the story of that shepherd and that one lost sheep, and how that shepherd put himself in harm's way, and he looked, and he looked, and he looked, and he found that sheep. Joel gets up, he walks to his car, he drives for 3.5 hours. He drives back to his hometown. He pulls up to that church that he drove past 9 years earlier. The service has already started, but Joel slips in the back. He sits down and he starts to scan the crowd. He's wondering if maybe his family will be there. And then partway through, he thinks, why would they? It's been 9 years. I have no idea. And just about the time he's ready to give up, he catches movement about 7 rows up to his right. See, someone else is scanning the crowd that night too. It's his mom. 9 years later, and she still hasn't stopped hoping. Their eyes meet. Her eyes get real wide. She bumps Joel's dad. Joel's dad whips his head around. As soon as he sees Joel, all in one motion, he stands up. The service is going. He's up. He's walking to the edge of the row, and Joel looks, and his dad looks older. He looks older, but he looks softer too. He's got a smile on his face. Well, now, Paige and Caleb, they stood up. Joel can't believe how big they've become, and now his mom's up. So by this time, everyone in the entire church is staring at the Sanderson family. The pastor has stopped speaking, but none of the family seems to care. His dad gets to Joel first. He picks him up, and he hugs him real tight, and he says, welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. It's funny. No one in the family really remembers anything that was said in that service. I think it ended with O Holy Night. But they all remember what happened after. They all got in their cars. This time, Paige and Caleb got to go with Joel, and they drove home. And they had a party that night, a party that none of them would ever forget as long as they lived. And I was thinking about that party. And it reminded me that at the exact same moment that they were having their party, there was another party going on. And for me to explain that, I'm going to have to go back about 2,000 years. Bear with me. There were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, do not be afraid. I bring you good news of great joy that'll be for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger. Suddenly a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to men on whom his favor rests." That little baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger, that's God's peace. Peace. Peace to a world that desperately needs it. Peace to the world in December of 2021. Peace to a world full of anxiety and worry and stress and fear. Peace at just the right time. That little baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger, that's God's favor. That's God's favor to a world that desperately needs it. God's favor to the world in December of 2021. God's favor to a world full of enmity and strife and division and anger and hatred. At just the right time, God's favor. But that little baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger, he grew up. And Jesus preached. And he healed people. And he performed miracles. And he taught people about the love and the mercy and grace of God. And one of the ways that he taught people about the love of God was Jesus told stories. And one of the stories that he told is the same story that came to Joel when he was walking that night. It goes like this. There once was a shepherd with 100 lambs. But one of his lambs wandered away and was lost, so the shepherd left the 99 lambs out in the open field and searched in the wilderness for that one lost lamb. He didn't stop until he finally found it. With exuberant joy, he raised it up, placed it on his shoulders, and carried it back with cheerful delight. Returning home, he called all his friends and neighbors together and said, "Let's have a party. Come and celebrate with me the return of my lost lamb. It wandered away, but I found it, and I brought it home." Jesus continued, "In the same way, there will be a glorious celebration in heaven over the rescue of one lost sinner who repents, comes back home, and returns to the fold. More so than for all the righteous people who never strayed away." It's so amazing to think that the same angels that showed up to announce the birth of Jesus were sitting on the edge of their seats as Joel drove up to that little church, holding their breath as he slid into that back row. And when the Sanderson family went home to celebrate, there was a party in heaven. See, that little baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger, that's God's peace. That's God's favor. And that little baby grew up. And Jesus preached, and he healed, and he performed miracles, and he taught people about the love of God. And then that same Jesus died on a cross and rose again. That same Jesus died on a cross and rose again. And we can't miss this. Christmas 2021, this is what that means. That little baby, wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger, he came to be the good shepherd. Oh, who are you? See, that's really the question. You know who you are? You're the one he left the 99 for. That's who you are. See, when Jesus died on that cross, he's just like the good shepherd. He put himself in harm's way. He went into the wilderness. That is this world. See, here's the truth. At some point, this world is beautiful, but it's also ugly. This world can be easy, but it's also so difficult. And there's darkness, and there's decay, and there's death. And Jesus took on the worst that this world has to offer. Because at some point of your life, at some point in my life, spiritually speaking, we're lost. We're shivering, we're frightened, and we're alone. How did we get there? It doesn't matter. That's not the point. When Jesus died, he said, "I don't know how low you've gone. I don't know how low you feel you are, but I will go down as far as I have to go." And he picked you up. And then he rose again. And when he rose again, this is what it means. He's put you on his shoulders. And he's going to carry you home. Who is he? Oh, he's the good shepherd. Who are you? Oh, that's easy. You're the one he left the 99 for. And he has a really, really simple message for you tonight. It's time to come home. It's time to come home. Spiritually speaking, I don't know exactly what home is for you, but I can guess. Maybe somewhere along the line you feel like you wandered off track. How did you get there? It actually doesn't really matter. It might be your fault, might not be. But somewhere along the line, you wandered off track. And you said to yourself, man, I'm going to get things straightened out. But time flies sometimes, right? And a day becomes a week, and a week becomes a month, and a month becomes a year, and a year becomes years. And now maybe you're sitting at this point where you're like, oh man, I'm way too far off track. What? Way too far off track. No. Oh, I haven't said this yet. Here's what I need to tell you. You know who he is? He's the good shepherd. Did I not mention that? He's the good shepherd. You're not off track. No, you're not off track. You're exactly where you were meant to be. Whether you're watching online, whether you're here in person, you're exactly through the twists and turns and the ups and downs. You are exactly where you were meant to be, to meet with him right here and right now. See, I don't know exactly why you think you're here. Maybe you're here because you had a persistent Southsider that kept inviting you to watch online or be here in person. Maybe they bribed you with a box of pot of gold chocolates. What a terrible bribe, by the way. Does anybody here like pot of gold chocolates? Hands up. You're the same people who thought it was a chipmunk. Okay, I got it. Yeah, all right. I like the square ones, that's it. Maybe a Southsider kidnapped you. Threw you in their trunk and you're here against your will. I'm really sorry, but I am glad you're here. Okay, but here's the point. Whatever reason you think you're here for, this is all part of his plan. You're not off track. Did I not mention? Oh, I should tell you, he's the good shepherd. And he would pay any price and bear any burden. You're exactly where you were meant to be, right here and right now. Because who are you? Oh, you're the one he left the 99 for. You're the one he left the 99 for. You say, I don't know, Mike. This whole Jesus thing, this whole church thing is for shiny, happy, well-behaved people, and that ain't me. Oh, okay, so here's the thing. Church is not for shiny, happy, well-behaved people. If church was only for shiny, happy, well-behaved people, no offense, this place would be empty. This stage would most certainly be empty. Oh, okay, well, maybe Leah would still be there, okay? She needs to get over the whole cookie thing, but other than that. How did I end up lost? Doesn't matter. It's never mentioned because it's not important. The point is, here I am. Just as I am, the Good Shepherd says, it's time to come home. Maybe you're somebody who's winning in life. Everything is going really, really well. But lately you've been wondering, how can somebody with such a full life feel so empty? Let me help you with that. See, all this stuff on the outside, all this stuff of the world, it's great. Man, I love it. You got lots of money? That's so cool. You got a great house? Awesome. Nice car? Corner office? A championship medal? Love it all. Really, really, really good. Here's the problem with you. Some people say you're shallow. You are not shallow. You're really deep. You know that? You're a soul. You're a soul. You're a soul. And for you to actually be fulfilled, it goes way deeper than stuff out here. Make sense? So for you to really find contentment and really find fulfillment, you need spiritual contentment. You need spiritual fulfillment, and that comes through Jesus. Who is he? Oh, he's the Good Shepherd. Who are you? You're the one he left the 99 for. And he's got a real simple message for you tonight. It's time to come home. Maybe you got this image that you've crafted. Tough, strong, and fearless. Tough, strong, and fearless. Tough, strong, and fearless. I get it. I'm impressed. That's a great image. I mean, I remember a time in my life when I crafted that image to a T. Tough, strong, and fearless. And I don't know about you, but what I found is that the harder I worked at that image, the more scared and helpless I felt on the inside. Right? Because it's that same thing. It's like nothing out here can fix what's deep down inside, this insecurity and this fear inside of me. But there was this time in my life when I was just striving to craft this image, and the harder I tried, the more helpless I felt until I came to the end of myself. In the middle of the night, in the middle of January, in the middle of Red Deer, Alberta, walking up the south hill of Red Deer, Alberta, I came to the end of myself, and then I found Jesus. No, that's not quite right. That's not quite right. He found me. He found me on the South Hill, a Red Deer that night, exactly through the twists and turns of life, exactly where I was meant to be. Who is he? Oh, he's the Good Shepherd. Who am I? I'm the one he left the 99 for. Who are you? You're the one he left the 99 for, and he's got a message for you tonight. It's time to come home. Or maybe you've been just feeling profoundly lonely. You've been shocked lately at how you can be surrounded by so many amazing people and yet feel lonely. Or maybe the truth is you're not surrounded by people, you feel completely alone. You feel overlooked. You feel like nobody knows, nobody loves you, nobody cares. Maybe even lately you've been feeling like a lost cause. And I've been thinking about those two words a lot lately, lost cause, lost cause. Can I suggest to you, you are neither. You are not lost, and you are not a cause. You're not lost. Did I tell you who he is? He's the Good Shepherd. You're exactly where you were meant to be, right here and right now. He wants to meet with you. Oh, and you're not a cause. You are so loved. You are so important. You're the one he left. He left the 99 for you. And he's got a real simple message for you tonight. It's time to come home. See, I don't know who you are or where you've been or what you've done. I don't know how you got here. I don't know what your image is, but it doesn't really matter. Here's the point. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, stepped into human history. He put himself in harm's way to reach you wherever you are, and what he wants to pull you out of, he wants to pull you out of the muck and the mire of your past and raise you up to a fresh start. Spiritually speaking, a place called home. So as I close, probably in the next 47 to 48 minutes, I will complete my close. Thank you for laughing at that. I thought you were just going to get up and walk out. Why don't we just take a moment of reflection? Whether you're online or in person right now, could you just bow your head and close your eyes? You're just so loved, you know? You're just so known. He's the Good Shepherd. He would pay any price. He would bear any burden for you. So everything that he needed to do, he accomplished through his death and resurrection. So the next step is yours. If today is the day that you say, yes, Jesus, I want to come home, with all heads bowed and all eyes closed. If that's you, whether you're online or in person right now, can you raise your hand right now? Because I want to pray with you right now. Nice and high if you don't mind. Awesome. Awesome. That's great. If your hands are up, you can put them down right now. For those of you who raised your hands either online or in person, I'm going to pray out loud, and I just invite you to pray quietly along with me. So, dear Jesus, thank you. I, first of all, pray, Jesus, that you would just give me an inkling of how much you love me. For everybody in here, for everybody watching online, I pray that, God. That everyone would know, would take hold of that truth. I am the one that he left the 99 for, and never forget it. And Jesus, I thank you that you died on the cross. You came down and you reached me where I was at. And so I pray that you would be my Savior. Give me a fresh start right now. And Jesus, I'm so thankful that you rose again. I pray that through your resurrection, you would give me the strength to follow you, to be the person I was created to be, to live the life that I was supposed to live, today, tomorrow, and forever. I pray this in your name. Amen. Amen. Let's celebrate, church. Two more things. Number one, if you just prayed that prayer for the first time, whether you're online or in person, do something really, really brave for me. Just text the keyword LIFE, L-I-F-E, to 604-670-3040. I almost forgot the phone number. Wow. I've only said it 1,000,000 times in my life. Text that, LIFE, to that number. We just want to support you and cheer you on. That's kind of what the Christian life is. We become a spiritual family, you know. Secondly, January 9th, we're going to assemble again. So whether you're online watching, set it in your calendar. Be back here online. If you're in person, be back here January 9th. I want to tell you why. January 9th, I am so incredibly excited. I want to start a series called 5. It's I thought of the title myself. It's 5 weeks long and I called it 5, okay? But here's my theory. I think 2022 can be amazing. Amazing. But I think we all realized over the last couple years, we can't be waiting for stuff out here in the world to all settle the right way. We can't wait for every circumstance to work itself out. So I think we're going to do 5 weeks, and I want to give you a way that together we can work on in here, and make this, honestly, best year ever. January what? 9th. You're going to be there. You might want to have a cookie. I have no idea whether they're good or not, but you can try one. I love you guys a lot. Merry Christmas. You can stand up.
Praise Christmas, everybody. That was an amazing night altogether. We cannot wait to see you next year in the new year. Take care, you guys. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you soon.
Christmas is for me.